Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this morning, ladies and gentlemen. A former US Army Chief of Staff wrote in a recent climate change report, "If you wait for 100% certainty on the battlefield, something bad is going to happen." And as Over's indicated, bad things are happening, and they're happening far faster than previously anticipated. Climate change is in essence about managing risk and uncertainty, but on an unprecedented global scale. It's an incredibly complex issue, and whilst there remains, I think, much uncertainty, it's very clear that there's a very high degree of certainty on certain key aspects. In particular, our risk exposure to abrupt and major irreversible changes is escalating rapidly. This threatens the productivity and health of Australia's major ecosystems, the prosperity of vital sectors of the economy, the security of our water supply, and indeed our entire way of life. Despite 2 decades of global negotiations, one has to say that virtually nothing has been done to address the problem. Around the world, the scientific and political debates are like 2 ships passing in the night with minimal communication. Too many assume that climate change can be solved in the time-honoured manner, a tradition of political compromise between competing ambit claims. Now, that might have been the case had we been doing this in the 1990s, but no longer. As Voltaire put it, men argue, nature acts, and time has quite simply run out. It's patently obvious that we now need new approaches and solutions to break the mould of procrastination and delay. And that's what Safe Climate Australia is really setting out to do in the Australian context, as in fact others are doing now all around the world. For most of my career in the energy business, I've been an advocate of a technique called scenario planning. And scenario planning, you explore the future not by trying to predict what might happen, but really by painting credible alternative pictures of the future against which you can test your strategy. And the thing you search for in doing that work, in painting those pictures, are the really big, unexpected changes that can make or break organisations and indeed societies. And I would argue that we're now in a period of major discontinuities, and in fact, the climate change is the biggest of all of those discontinuities. The observed rate of global warming and its impacts are clearly indicating we must achieve far more rapid decarbonisation of the economy than was previously thought necessary. The current political range for emission reduction targets is based on atmospheric carbon concentrations in the range of 450 to 550 parts per million, which supposedly will limit our temperature rise exposure to around 2 degrees C. However, as John Schellenhuber, the director of the Potsdam Climate Research Institute in Germany, has said, a rise of only 2 degrees C could avoid some big environmental disasters, but it is still only a compromise. Even a small increase in temperature could trigger one of several climatic tipping points, such as methane release from the melting permafrost, bringing much more severe global warming. Nobody can say for sure that 330 is safe. Perhaps it will not matter whether we have 270 or 320, but operating well outside the historic realm of carbon dioxide concentrations is risky as long as we have not fully understood the relevant feedback mechanisms. So that's the sort of range we must aim for, a far greater task than is being acknowledged today, given that existing CO2 levels sit at around 370 parts per million. Sensible risk management really requires emission reduction targets to be based on this latest considered science, not on the art of what might be considered politically possible. So Safe Climate Australia will take a science-based approach that's brutally honest about our circumstances, because without that honesty, we're never going to develop realistic solutions. And we do have those solutions, and it's those solutions that SCA really intends to focus strongly on. Safe Climate Australia has been formed to build a plan to guide Australia to a safe level of greenhouse gases. It's a massive task, but by combining the best science and the best minds in the country, we're confident that we can do it. We're not a lobby group or a front for specific interests, and the intent is to freely share all information we developed, inclusively across all sectors. The core outcome of the SCA project will be the Safe Climate Transition Plan, a solutions-based all-sector framework for Australia to reduce carbon emissions at emergency speed and to sequester the existing carbon from the atmosphere. It's not intended to reinvent the wheel, but to build on and incorporate the most promising policy and research initiatives from Australia and overseas, with projects being commissioned to fill key knowledge gaps. One of the main inspirations for SCA has undoubtedly been Repowering America, which is the initiative launched by Al Gore recently, which calls for the United States economy to rapidly transition to a clean energy basis, with economy-wide transformation into renewable energy, a national integrated smart grid, energy efficiency, and clean transport. At this event today are some of the best practitioners across research institutes, government, investment, clean energy and energy efficiency, carbon sequestration, sustainable urban design and transport. Within Australia, we have the organisations and the people with the energy and capability to steer Australia toward a safe climate future. And many of the answers to that climate crisis are located quite squarely in this room. Undoubtedly, across the country, there's excellent work being done by many organisations, and many projects are in train, all addressing these issues. But we believe a catalyst is needed to really link those efforts into a focused, comprehensive plan to provide a transformation framework for government, business, and community consideration. And that's the role which Safe Climate Australia is designed to fulfil. SCA will deliver a clear, credible, costed plan and work to disseminate understanding and build commitment across all sectors of society to deliver this new vision. Your support in whatever form would be greatly appreciated. For Safe Climate to succeed, we're seeking around $1.5 million a year over the next 3 years. On the table is a name card you have in front of you. On the back of that is the web link to download our prospectus, which sets out the detail of the project. And there are also hard copies available from the volunteers at the doors as you go out. So please take time to visit the site, read the prospectus, and consider joining the project by whatever means you feel possible. That could be, for example, through corporate and philanthropic partnerships, through research collaboration, direct sponsorship, and so on. We need transformative leadership on the climate challenge. Business and the research community have a unique opportunity and a responsibility to produce the ideas, the means, and the leadership to preserve a safe climate for future generations. And leadership on climate starts with an open mind, a focus on the scientific imperatives, and a preparedness to set aside incremental change in the knowledge that we are collectively capable of amazing feats in the face of great adversity. While Australia is responsible for only a small portion of global emissions, given our somewhat checkered history on this issue, strong leadership here will amplify global efforts to address climate risk. Australia has a great exposure to climate risk, more so than any other developed country, and great potential to be an exemplar of proactive risk management for the global community. When real emergencies loom, remarkable change is possible. And ladies and gentlemen, please join with us in making it happen. Thank you very much.